I died choking on my own blood, the metallic tang flooding my mouth as the brake lines of my cherry-red Mustang snapped like brittle bones on that rain-slicked interstate outside Chicago. The last thing I saw was my sister's face in the rearview mirror. Not there, but burned into my mind from the email she'd sent just hours before, gloating about how Mom had finally seen the light and rewritten the will, leaving me with nothing but debts and disgrace. But death isn't the end. It's a goddamn reset button, and when my eyes snapped open to the sterile hum of my old alarm clock in my cramped Wicker Park apartment, 3 years before that fatal drive, I knew. This time, I'd bury them before they buried me. The first breath I took in that reborn body was like gulping fire, raw, disorienting, every nerve screaming that this wasn't a dream. I bolted upright in my queen-sized bed, the sheets tangled around my legs like restraints, and stared at the faded band poster on the wall. Nirvana, Kurt Cobain's Hollow, eyes mocking me from 1994. My hands, unscarred, nails not chipped from clawing at a steering wheel, trembled as I touched my face. 25 again. Adeline Harper, pre-law hotshot at Northwestern, not the 30-year-old corporate drone who'd been ousted from her own family's empire. The clock blinked 6:47 a.m., July 15th, 2022. 3 years to the day before the accident. I remembered it all too vividly. The forged emails making it look like I'd embezzled from Harper Industries. My father's legacy turned poison by my mother's greed. Dad had built it from a single steel mill in Gary, Indiana, into a Midwest manufacturing giant. Pipelines, auto parts, the kind of blue-collar backbone that kept cities like Detroit humming. He'd died of a heart attack 5 years prior, leaving everything to me, his Spitfire, as he called me, because I fought for the workers' unions he secretly admired. Mom, she hated that, called it socialist nonsense. And my sister, Lila, God, Lila with her sorority-sweet smile and viper's tongue, had always been Mom's golden child, the one who married money, not merit. I stumbled to the bathroom mirror, splashing cold water on my face. The woman staring back had my old fire, sharp green eyes, auburn hair in a messy ponytail, the faint freckles across my nose that Dad used to say made me look like a fox ready to pounce. But inside, I was a ghost haunted by betrayal. That night in 2025, after the will reading in our family lawyer's oak-paneled office on Michigan Avenue, Mom had leaned in close, her Chanel perfume choking me like exhaust fumes. "You were always too wild, Addie," she'd whispered, her voice silk over steel. "Lila's the one who deserves it. She's stable. You're a liability." Stable. That's code for willing to sell off Dad's mills to Chinese conglomerates for a quick buck. Lila had smirked from across the table, her engagement ring, bought with company funds she'd siphoned, catching the light like a taunt. The forensic accountant they'd hired? A plant, of course. His report proved I'd cooked the books during a routine audit. Lies, all of it. I'd uncovered their scheme too late. Mom and Lila plotting to dismantle the company piece by piece, laundering profits through offshore shells while framing me as the fall guy. My desperate drive to confront them that stormy night? Brake lines cut clean, skid marks leading straight to sabotage. The cops called it mechanical failure. I called it murder. Now, with a second chance, rage coiled in my gut like a spring-loaded trap. I wouldn't scream or rage quit this time. No, I'd play their game, smarter, sharper, until the board flipped and they were the ones scrambling. First step, document everything. I grabbed my laptop, fingers flying over keys I'd forgotten how to use without autocorrect crutches. Emails from that future life flickered in my memory. I recreated them verbatim, timestamps and all, saving them in an encrypted folder labeled contingency. Proof of their digital footprints, the ones that would have exonerated me if I'd had time. By 8 a.m., I was dressed in my power armor, slim black pantsuit, the one I'd bought on a whim from Nordstrom Rack, heels that clicked like gunfire on the L train platform. Northwestern's campus sprawled green and oblivious under the summer sun, students lounging on the quad with iced lattes and existential dread. I slipped into contracts class 10 minutes late. Professor Hale shot me a glare, but I flashed my best morning traffic smile. Inside, my mind raced ahead. Class was a blur of hypotheticals about breach and remedies, but I was already litigating my own case. Lunch was a solo affair at the campus cafe, Turkey Club untouched as I scrolled through my contacts. There it was, Marcus Hale, no relation to the prof. Thank God. The forensic accountant who'd betrayed me in the future. In that life, he'd been the one to sign off on the damning report, his signature a guillotine. But I'd seen the hesitation in his eyes during the deposition, the way he'd avoided mine. Blackmailed, maybe? Or just bought off cheap. Either way, he was my wild card now. I fired off an email. Professor Hale recommended your services for a pro bono audit on a family matter. Available for coffee this week. Neutral. Professional. The hook baited. Afternoon brought a curveball, a call from Mom. Her voice, all honeyed concern, crackled through my phone's speaker. Addie, darling. It's been ages. Lila's engagement party's this weekend. Evan's family is flying in from Boston. You simply must come. We've missed you. Missed me? Bullshit. In the timeline I knew, that party was the launch pad. Toasts laced with subtle digs about my unmarried status, whispers about how I was squandering my inheritance on frivolous causes. They'd spike my drink with just enough roofie to make me slur accusations, painting me as the unstable one. I wouldn't miss it, I replied, injecting warmth I didn't feel. Tell Lila congrats from her big sis. Click. My heart hammered. This was it, the first chess move. I'd go, but not as the lamb. I'd record every word, every glance. And I'd bring a date. Not some bar hookup, but a ghost from my past life. No, better, someone new. I needed eyes and ears they couldn't touch. That night, back in my apartment, the city lights bled through the blinds like accusations. I poured a glass of cheap Merlot and paced the scarred hardwood floors, replaying the death scene in my head. The screech of tires, the guardrail crumpling like foil, the ironic twist of my phone buzzing with a text from Lila. Drive safe, sis. Wouldn't want any accidents. Had she known? The thought ignited something feral. I grabbed my notebook, old school, leather-bound, a relic from Dad, and sketched the web. Mom at the center, her socialite claws and charity boards and country clubs. Lila, the puppet, dangling from strings of vanity and vice. Evan, her fiancé, a Wall Street shark with a taste for insider trades. And me, the spider, weaving from the shadows. Sleep came fitful, dreams of twisted metal and whispered lies. Morning broke with Marcus's reply. Coffee sounds great. Thursday, 10 a.m., Intelligentsia on Broadway. Perfect. Close enough to snoop, far enough from prying eyes. I dressed casual, jeans, blouse, hair down, and hit the streets, the windy city's humidity clinging like guilt. Intelligentsia buzzed with hipsters and laptops. Marcus was already there, mid-40s, salt and pepper beard, eyes sharp behind wire rims. He stood as I approached, hand extended. Adeline Harper? Pleasure. What's this family matter? I slid into the seat, ordering a black coffee to match his. Hypothetical for now. Ever audit a company where the books look clean but feel off, like someone's hiding skeletons in the spreadsheets? His brow furrowed, but he nodded, launching into war stories of cooked ledgers and Ponzi facades. I listened, probing gently. What if the client was family? Would you dig deeper, even if it meant burning bridges? He paused, stirring his drink. Depends. Truth's a messy bitch, Miss Harper. But yeah, I dig. Cost you, though. As we talked, I scanned his micro-expressions, the twitch when I mentioned offshore transfers, the way his gaze darted to his phone. In the future, he'd fold it easy. This time, I'd make him my bloodhound. By the time we parted, I'd hired him for a preliminary review of Harper Industries' public filings. Nothing invasive, just enough to wet the line. Send me the invoice, I said, shaking his hand. His grip was firm, but his eyes held a question. Good. Let him wonder. The week blurred into prep for Lila's party. I hit the gym, hard, pounding the treadmill until my lungs burned, channeling fury into sweat. Old contacts resurfaced. Jimmy Ruiz, Dad's old union rep from the Gary Mill, grizzled and loyal. Addie girl, he rasped over the phone. Heard your ma's selling off pieces. That right. I lied smooth. Just rumors, Jimmy. But keep an ear out, yeah? Allies. I'd need them when the storm hit. Saturday dawned sticky, the lakefront haze mirroring my mood. The party was at the Peninsula Hotel, Chicago's gilded cage for the elite. I arrived fashionably late, in a crimson sheath that hugged like armor, hair swept up to bare my neck. Vulnerable, but deliberate. Mom air-kissed my cheeks, her Botox smile not reaching her eyes. You look fierce, darling. Evan, meet my eldest, Adeline, the wild one. Evan, tall and predatory in his Tom Ford suit, leered just enough to curdle milk. Charmed. Lila's told me all about you. Lila swept in then, blonde and beaming in white lace, the picture of bridal bliss. Sis, you made it. Her hug was perfunctory, nails digging a warning into my arm. We posed for photos, Harper women, united in facade, the flash popping like gunfire. Cocktails flowed, gin for Mom, champagne for Lila, sparkling water for me. I nursed it slow, ears tuned to the undercurrents. Whispers from aunts about poor Richard's company going to pot, uncles chuckling over stock dips. And then, the toast. Mom raised her glass, voice lilting. To Lila and Evan. May your future be as bright as the empire we're building together. Empire. The word slithered. Laughter rippled. I clinked glasses, but my mind catalogued. The way Evan's hand lingered on Lila's waist, possessive. Mom's glance at me, appraising, like livestock. Later, by the dessert table, Lila cornered me. Heard you're sniffing around the books. Mom's not thrilled. Her breath was wine-sweet. Stay in your lane, Addie. This is my time. I smiled, teeth bared. Wouldn't dream of stealing your spotlight, Lil. But as I walked away, phone in pocket recording every syllable, I felt the noose tightening. They were accelerating. In the original timeline, the frame-up started post-party. This time, I'd choke it off at the root. Back home, I uploaded the audio to my secure drive, transcribing keywords, lane, spotlight, empire. Marcus's preliminary report landed in my inbox at midnight. Flagged anomalies in recent transfers. Nothing damning, but threads to pull. One name jumped. Vanguard Holdings, a shell Evan controlled. Bingo. I emailed Marcus. Dig here. Deep. Sleep claimed me then. Visions of unraveling ledgers dancing like sugar plums. Monday brought the first crack. Jimmy called, voice urgent. Addie, Mill and Gary's getting pink slips. 50 guys, out by Christmas. Your ma's signing it off. Rage boiled. I drove south, the Dan Ryan a snarl of horns and heat, arriving at the mill as shifts changed. Faces I knew from Dad's funerals, hard hats, calloused hands, greeted me wary. Jimmy pulled me aside in the break room, coffee stale as regret. They're shutting us down for restructuring. But word is, sight's going to some Chinese outfit. Your sister's boy, Evan, he's the broker. I nodded, jaw set. Not on my watch, Jimmy. Rally the troops. Quiet. We're auditing. He grinned, gap-toothed. Like old Richard. By evening, I'd filed an anonymous tip with the SEC. Insider trading vibes. Enough to spook without alerting the nest. Controversial? Hell yes. Risky as playing chicken with a freight train. But Dad's legacy wasn't chum for sharks. The backlash hit Tuesday. Mom's email, family meeting. Tomorrow. My office. Don't make me regret inviting you back. Regret. The irony. I replied, wouldn't miss it. Then, to Marcus. Prep for war. As night fell, Chicago's skyline loomed like a jury, and I whispered to the dark. Your move, bitches. The family meeting was set for 2 p.m. in Mom's corner office at Harper Tower, a glass area overlooking the loop where deals were sealed and souls crushed. I arrived early, parking my leased Civic in the executive garage, modest, unassuming, the better to fly under radar. The lobby gleamed with marble and malice, security nodding me through with forced smiles. Elevator up, stomach churning like I'd chugged bad espresso. This was ground zero in the timeline. The meeting where Mom first floated streamlining the company, code for asset stripping, and Lila planted the seed of doubt about my loyalties. I stepped out on the 42nd floor, the carpet muffling my heels like a gag. Mom's assistant, a mousy thing named Carla, waved me in. The office was a shrine to excess. Dad's oil portrait over the desk, crystal decanters glinting, floor-to-ceiling views of the Chicago River snaking below like a vein. Mom sat enthroned behind the walnut slab, pearls at her throat, a stack of folders before her. Lila lounged on the leather couch, legs crossed, scrolling her phone, probably Evan's latest yacht pics. No Evan today. Smart. Keep the shark offshore. Addie, Mom purred, gesturing to a chair. Sit. Wine. I shook my head, pulling out my recorder, discreet, tucked in my bag, red light winking. Water's fine. What's the crisis du jour? She arched a brow, Pouring anyway. Lila snorted softly. Always so dramatic. It's just business, sis. Business. Right. Mom slid a folder across. Pink slips for Gary, projections for more. We're overextended, darling. The mills are bleeding cash. Unions, regulations, that endless Chicago winter. Time to pivot. Sell the underperformers. Focus on high-margin contracts. Pivot. To Evan's cronies, you mean. I flipped pages, feigning shock. Dad built this for the long haul. Jobs, not quick flips. This looks like liquidation. Lila leaned forward, eyes narrowing. And you know better? From your little nonprofit gigs? Save the world later, Addie. Some of us have mortgages. Mortgages on Hampton's getaways, funded by Dad's sweat. I held her gaze, voice steady. I'm just saying, let's audit first. Clean books mean better buyers. I've got a guy, top forensic, ex-FBI. Pro bono. Mom's fingers tightened on her glass. Unnecessary. Our accountants cleared it. Their accountants. Bought and paid. Humor me, I pressed. Family discount. Silence stretched, taut as a tripwire. Lila broke it with a laugh, sharp, brittle. Fine. But if it turns up nothing, you back off. Deal. Deal. I nodded, recorder capturing the tremor in her tone. We wrapped in under an hour, pleasantries masking the poison. As I rode down, phone buzzed. Marcus. Vanguard's a ghost, shell within shells. But I found a trail, transfers to a Cayman account, signed by L. Harper. Lila. Sloppy. Keep digging, I texted. And watch your back. Paranoia? In this family, it was survival. Back at my apartment, I paced, notebook open to a fresh page. Allies, Jimmy, Marcus. Liabilities. Carla, who I'd seen glancing at Lila's phone during the meeting, compromised? I needed more. A quick search pulled up an old flame. Theo Grant, investigative reporter at the Tribune, the guy who'd ghosted me after I wouldn't go public with our fling. In this life, we'd barely sparked, a drunken hookup at a bar crawl. But he owed me. I'd covered his bar tab once. Text, Theo. Addie Harper. Got a tip on corporate fuckery. Drinks. His reply, hell yes. 8 p.m., the Violet Hour. The Violet Hour was a speakeasy dive. Dim lights, craft cocktails, the kind of place secrets fermented. Theo slid into the booth late, rumpled charm intact. Dark hair tousled, notebook eternal. Harper as I live. What's the dirt? I sipped my old-fashioned, metering the spill. Family biz. Suspect embezzlement. Framed to look like union sabotage. Off the record, for now. His eyes lit. Harper Industries? That's catnip. Who's the mark? I hesitated. Controversial call number 1. Implicate without naming. High up. Start with public filings. I'll feed you exclusives. He grilled me gentle, but I stonewalled personal. By last call, he had a lead. Heard whispers of a whistleblower at Gary. Union guys talking. Jimmy. I'd loop him in tomorrow. Theo walked me out, hand brushing mine. Electric, distracting. This could blow up, Addie. You sure? No. But regret was for the dead. Blow it up, I said, hailing a cab. Wednesday dawned with fallout. Lila's text. Mom's pissed about your audit. Back off or else. Or else. Cute. I ignored it, heading to Gary instead. The mill loomed gray against the lake's steel sky, air thick with rust and resentment. Jimmy met me at the gate, clipboard in hand. Got a list, guys hit hardest. And this. He handed a USB, photos of falsified safety reports, dates aligning with the layoffs. Found in the shredder. Your sister's signature on approvals. Jackpot. I pocketed it, heart racing. Burn copies. We're going public soon. We huddled in his trailer office, mapping strategy, petitions to city council, op-eds seeded via Theo. As I drove back, rain spitting on the windshield, doubt crept. Was I saving the company or dooming my family? Dad's voice echoed. Fight dirty if they do, kid. Dirty it was. Marcus called en route. Cayman account traces to your mother, Elizabeth Harper. And get this, it's funding a trust for Lila's kids. Future-proofing. Kids she didn't have yet. Presumptuous. One more, Evan's got ties to a PI firm. They're watching someone. Me, probably. I thanked him, hung up, and pulled over, vomit rising. Betrayal wasn't abstract anymore. It was ink on paper, dollars diverted from pensions to playpens. That night, Theo's exclusive dropped, anonymously sourced piece on Harper Industries' shadow layoffs. Comments exploded. Save Gary Mill, trending by midnight. Mom's furious voicemail. What the hell, Adeline? Sabotaging your own blood. Blood. Thicker than water, thinner than greed. I deleted it, drafting my response. A polite email to the board, CC&G Marcus's prelims. For transparency's sake. Lila escalated Friday. She showed at my door unannounced, Evan in tow like a guard dog. Rain sheeted the windows. My apartment felt smaller with the minute. This witch hunt ends now, she hissed, dripping on my rug. Evan loomed, arms crossed. Or we go nuclear. Our lawyers are itching. I offered towels, calm as lake ice. Lawyers? For what? Protecting workers. That's PR gold, Lil. She flushed, stepping close. You always were the martyr. But Dad's gone. Move on. Move on. To what? Watching you gut his dream. I met her eyes, voice low. I am moving on. With the truth. Evan's phone buzzed. He stepped out to take it, leaving us electric. You think you're better? She whispered. Mom chose me because I don't fuck it up. Chose. Past tense. In the future, it was chooses. Timeline shift. My meddling rippling. Hope flickered. They left in a huff. I bolted the door, breath shaky. Marcus's full report arrived at dawn. Irrefutable. Millions siphoned. Laundered through Vanguard. Beneficiary. Lila's trust. Mom's sign-off on every transfer. The frame-up blueprint. Plant discrepancies in my access logs. Blamed the disgruntled heir. I forwarded it to Theo, with a note. Go big. By noon, headlines screamed. Harper heiress heist? Insider alleges embezzlement. The office erupted. Mom called an emergency board meeting. I crashed it, recorder live. Suits in panic, accusations flying. Who leaked? Mom demanded, eyes on me. I shrugged. Truth has a way. Lila stormed out, Evan glaring daggers. Post-meeting, in the elevator, Mom cornered me. You're destroying us, Addie. For what ghost? Dad's ghost, yeah. For justice, I said. Doors opened. She stayed behind, alone with her empire of ash. Night brought the first real threat. Slashed tires on my Civic, back OFF, keyed into the hood. Adrenaline surged. Fight or flight. Fight. I called Jimmy. Arm the union. Protests Monday. Theo, in bed with them. Marcus, I've got backups. Safe house if needed. Controversial? Mobilizing layoffs into marches, risking violence. But passivity killed me once. As sirens wailed distant, I toasted the mirror with water. Round 2, family. Ding ding. Monday's dawn broke bloody. Protests swelled outside Harper Tower like a storm surge. Jimmy's union boys chanting, jobs not jets, with signs sharpened on cardboard. I watched from a coffee shop across the street, hoodie up, blending with the gawkers. Theo was there, notebook flashing, capturing the fury. Wives clutching kids, veterans in faded camo. All dad's ghosts made flesh. My doing. My gamble. If the board buckled, we'd save the mill. If not, civil unrest on my tab. Mom's PR machine spun fast. Statements decrying baseless agitation. Offers of severance packages. Bullshit. By noon, cops kettled the crowd, pepper spray stinging the air. Jimmy texted, holding. Your move. I slipped through the chaos, flashing my ID to security, still a Harper, for now, and rode up to the boardroom. Tension crackled like static. Mom at the head, face thunder, Lila absent. Hiding, probably. Adeline, she snapped as I entered. This circus is democracy. I cut in, dropping Marcus's dossier on the table. Thuds echoed. Read it. All of it. Gasps rippled. Transfers, trusts, the Cayman web laid bare. A director, old Mr. Kowalski from Dad's era, adjusted his glasses. Elizabeth. This can't be. Mom's composure cracked, just a hair. Fabrications. That accountant's a hack. I slid my phone across, audio from the party playing. Lila's My Time, Mom's Empire. Jaws dropped. The vote was swift. Independent audit ordered. Mom sidelined pending review. She rose, regal in defeat. You'll regret this, Addie. No. Regret was her currency. As she swept out, Kowalski pulled me aside. Your father'd be proud. But watch your six. These waters run deep. Deep with sharks. Lila's, specifically. Post-meeting, I met Marcus in a dive bar off Wabash, neutral ground, away from tails. He nursed a root beer, files spread like a poker hand. It's worse, he said, voice low. The sabotage on your car? Not the first. Remember the 15 warehouse fire? Blamed on faulty wiring, but logs show inspection signed by, guess who? Your sister. Lila, the fire that killed 2 workers nearly bankrupted us. Dad covered it, thinking negligence. Murder masked. My hands shook. I gripped the table. Proof. Digital signatures, timestamps. Ironclad. Ironclad enough for charges? Maybe. But airing it meant dragging Dad's name through mud. Controversial as hell. Exhuming skeletons for leverage. Hold it, I said. Weaponize later. He nodded, uneasy. You're playing with fire, Adeline. Real fire. Theo scooped the board. Revolt by evening. Harper shakeup. Heir apparent exposes fraud. My phone blew up. Congrats from Jimmy. Threats from burners. Lila's call connected on the 3rd ring. You bitch, she snarled. Mom's having a breakdown. This ends now. I laughed cold. Ends? We're just starting. Tell Evan to lawyer up. Click. Her silence was the tell, scared. Tuesday brought the twist I hadn't scripted. Evan's PI firm turned on him. Hired by Mom originally, but now flipping for immunity, feeding SEC crumbs. I met their lead, a grizzled ex-cop named Ruiz, no relation to Jimmy, in a park off the Mag Mile, benches hard under tourist chatter. Your boy's dirty, he grunted, handing a thumb drive. Insider tips to Vanguard, kickbacks laundered as consulting. And this, emails plotting your disappearance post-will. Break lines were plan B. Disappearance. The word iced my veins. Not just frame, erase. Why flip? I asked. He shrugged. Feds leaned. Plus, your ma's cutting checks dry. Loyalty for sale. I pocketed the drive, wiring his fee through crypto, untraceable. Back home, I pored over it. Lila's emails, casual as grocery lists. Evan, handle Addie after the reading. Quiet. Mom's will covers contingencies. Contingencies. My murder. Rage blurred my vision. I smashed a glass, shards glittering like tears. This wasn't revenge anymore. It was survival, raw and righteous. But the moral line blurred. Leak this, and Lila faced life. My sister. Blood. I called Theo, voice steady. Deep dive on Evan Caldwell. Rico angles. He whistled. Heavy. You okay? No. But lies cost nothing. The week devolved into siege. Protests grew, national news sniffing, CNN panels debating corporate greed versus family feud. Mom went radio silent, holing up in the Gold Coast manse. Lila struck back petty. Frozen assets, my Northwestern alumni card yanked. Trespassing, her text read. Petty, but it stung. Echoes of the future disownment. I countered with a blog post, anonymous. From the inside. How Harper sold out the heartland. Views spiked. Donations poured into Jimmy's legal fund. Friday night, the confrontation brewed. Invite via courier. Family dinner. Neutral ground. The Palm. 7 p.m. Come alone. Mom's script, but underlined in Lila's scrawl. Trap? Probably. I prepped. Recorder, pepper spray, Theo on speed dial with live location. The Palm was old-school steakhouse, dark wood and celebrity caricatures, air thick with sizzling beef. They were at a corner booth. Mom composed, Lila feral-eyed, Evan between like a buffer. I slid in opposite, ordering bourbon neat. Truce flag. Mom asked, voice velvet. We've overreacted. Let's talk settlement. Settlement. Buy off. Lila smirked. You get a payout, we keep the company. Clean. Clean. As a grave. I sipped slow. Or the feds get the files. Your call. Evan's fork paused midair. Bluffing. No proof. I pulled the thumb drive, sliding it across. Emails. Signatures. Break line invoices from your PI. Color drained from Lila's face. She lunged, but Evan restrained. Mom's eyes hardened. Blackmail, Adeline. From Richard's daughter. Richard. Dad's ghost weaponized. Justice, I corrected. Dad died for this company. You profaned it. Chaos erupted. Whispers from tables, waiters' wary glance. Lila hissed. You were always jealous. The favorite, until you weren't. Favorite. The wound reopened. In childhood, yes, Dad's hikes in Indiana dunes, Mom's indifference. But jealousy? No. Betrayal bred this. Jealous. I leaned in. Of what? A hollow throne built on bodies. Evan stood, towering. We're done. But Mom stayed, hand on his arm. Sit. She's family. Family. The word hung, toxic. We bartered then, ugly raw. My terms, full audit, mill reinstatement, resignations. There's silence on the misunderstandings. Stalemate. As I rose to leave, Lila grabbed my wrist, nails biting. This isn't over, Addie. Blood's blood. Outside, rain lashed the streets. I hailed a cab, pulse thundering. Theo met me at a diner, all-night fluorescents buzzing. You look wrecked, he said, sliding by. I unloaded. Drive, emails, the dinner duel. His face darkened. Publish. Tempting. But controversial. Destroy them publicly, or carve private. Not yet, I said. Twist coming. It did, Saturday. Marcus called frantic. Your mom's lawyered up. Top firm, stalling the audit. And Lila? She's pregnant. Pregnant. The trust, the kids. Timeline fork, my interference, or always planned. Nausea hit. Aunt to a monster spawn? No. But abortion whispers? Too dark, even for revenge. Jimmy rallied that afternoon. March on City Hall. Permits pulled, but spirits high. I joined, sign in hand. Harper for workers, not Wall Street. Chants rose, cameras rolled. A bottle sailed, riot, brewing. Cops charged. I dodged, Theo shielding. In the melee, a hand yanked me back. Lila? No, Jimmy. Go. We got this. I fled to my car, unscathed but shaken. Home, voicemail from Mom. Enough. Meet me alone. Tomorrow. The house. The Gold Coast manse loomed gothic in my memory. Towers and turrets, Dad's folly. Sunday, I drove north, lake wind whipping. Mom waited on the veranda, alone, tea steaming. No Lila, no Evan. Truce, she said, voice cracked. I was wrong. Protecting Lila. It blinded me. Blinded. Or buried. I sat wary. The files. Burn them. Lie. But her eyes, wet, human, stirred pity. Why me? I asked. Why frame your own? She sighed long. You were like him. Richard's fire. Lila's. Pliable. The company needed steady hands. Steady for stripping. And the fire? The accident. Her gaze dropped. Mistakes. Regrets. Regrets. The hook. I pressed. Lila knew. Silence affirmed. We talked then, hours raw. Dad's debts hidden, her fears, the spiral. Sympathy crept, treacherous. Was this the twist, redemption, or ruse? As dusk fell, she hugged me, first in years. Forgive, maybe, but trust? Never. Driving south, phone rang, Theo. Lila's lawyer too, suing for defamation. And Evan? Fled to Cayman. Fled. The web fraying. Home. I copied the drive, insurance. Sleep evaded, dreams of burning mills, baby cries. Monday's headlines. Harper protests turn violent, arrests mount. My fault? Complicity burned. Controversial decision 3. Pull the plug on marches, or push. Jimmy voted push, I voted pause. Regroup, I told him. But Lila's suit landed. Cease and desist, demands for retractions. The war escalated. Marcus uncovered more. Mom's role in the warehouse fire. Approved cuts to safety budgets. Negligence, manslaughter territory. Leak it. Destroy her. Hold. Let justice crawl. I chose crawl, tipping prosecutors anonymously. Slow poison. Theo and I collided that night. Passion born of pressure, tangled sheets in his walk-up. This is insane, he murmured post. Insane, yeah? But alive. Morning brought clarity. Endgame nearing. Mom's audit stalled. Board fracturing. Lila's pregnancy public. PR shield. My move. Press conference. Full disclosure. But first, confrontation. I drove to Lila's condo in Streeterville, buzzer insistent. She answered, belly just showing, eyes puffy. What? Venom. Talk. Truth. Inside, it was luxury sterile. White leather, views of the yacht club. She poured decaf, hands shaking. You win, okay? Company's yours. Just. Stop. Stop. As if. The emails. The breaks. She crumbled, sobbing. Evan's idea. Mom said it'd look like suicide. I couldn't. Couldn't or wouldn't. Sisterhood fractured. The baby. I touched her arm. Innocent. But you. She pulled away. Hate me. Fine. But it's over. Over? No. Evan's flight confirmed embezzlement. Feds swarmed Tuesday, raiding the tower. Mom arrested. White-collar cuffs, but cuffs. Lila grilled, released on bail. Me? Hero or villain? Protests cheered. Unions hailed. But the twist gutted. In custody, Mom confessed, not just fraud, but Dad's death. Pills in his scotch, staged his heart attack. He found out, she whispered via lawyer. About the fire. The siphoning. Murdered my father. For money. Rage imploded. I confronted her in lockup, glass between. Why? Tears streaked her makeup. Love. For Lila. For us. Us. The lie shattered. Rot, I said, walking out. No forgiveness. Just finality. The fallout from Mom's confession hit like a Category 5. Headline screamed, Harper Matriarch's Dark Secret. Murder for millions? Theo's byline. Of course, piecing it with surgical precision. I holed up in my apartment, blinds drawn, the city a muffled roar. Jimmy called. Addie's running the show now. Board voted unanimous. Running it. Dad's ghost nodding approval, but the weight crushed. Lila texted sporadically. Help me. Baby's coming early. Help. After everything. Blood pulled. Treacherous. Evan's extradition dragged. Grand jury indicting on conspiracy. Flight. The PI flipped full, testifying to the break job. Ms. Harper Jr. greenlit it. Said make it clean. Clean. My sister's hand on the wheel of my death. Prosecutors offered deals. Mom took manslaughter, 15 years. Lila, plea in progress, house arrest for the birth. Mercy or manipulation. I visited her in the condo, sterile now with baby monitors and regret. Swollen ankles propped, she clutched ultrasound pics. It's a girl, she whispered. Adeline Elizabeth. My name. Salt and wounds. Don't, I said, sitting distant. Why tell me? She wiped tears. Because you're all I got left. Mom's gone. Evans. Coward. Coward. Pot. Kettle. We talked fractured. Childhood beaches. Dad's barbecues. The rift when I chose law over family biz. You were always leaving, she accused. Leaving? I fought for it. You poisoned it, I countered. The fire. 2 men dead because of your shortcuts. Her face crumpled. I signed. Didn't know. Ignorance plea. Weak. Controversial crossroads. Testify against her, seal the fate, or perjure for leniency. Blood for blood, or grace. I chose gray, truth, but tempered. At the hearing, I took the stand, voice steady under fluorescence. Lila followed. Mom led. Judge nodded. Sentence light. Probation, restitution. She hugged me after, clinging, desperate. Thank you. I stiffened. Forgiveness? Not yet. But chains loosed. Running Harper meant trenches. Board meetings in Dad's old chair, haggling unions back to work. Jimmy as interim COO, his gravel voice grounding. No more vultures, Addie girl. I greenlit expansions, green steel, solar integrations, screw the quick buck. Stocks dipped, then climbed. Workers returned, wary but willing. Theo embedded deep, dinners turning dates, his cynicism cracking under my fire. You're a force, he said one night, skyline at our feet from his balcony. Force. Or fool. Mom's letters from Alderson slithered in. Proud, despite. Proud. Of what surviving her? Lila's labor hit at 3 a.m., call frantic. I drove through dawn fog. Hospital halls echoing my footsteps. Waiting room plastic, coffee bitter. She emerged hours later, swaddled bundle in arms. Tiny, furious, green-eyed like me. Hold her, Lila urged. I did, wait foreign, fierce. Adeline Elizabeth Harper Caldwell. And Addie, she cooed. Heart twisted. Cycle break, or repeat. Evan's trial was spectacle. Wall Street wolf in orange, pleading not guilty till evidence crushed. Lila testified against him, voice quavering. He pushed. I folded. Folded. Jury didn't buy. 20 years, no parole. As cuffs clicked, he sneered at me in the gallery. You think you won? Harper's rot. Rot. Maybe. Company stabilized by fall. Gary Mill humming. New contracts with Tesla suppliers. I keynote at a union gala, speech raw. Dad taught me legacies, not ledgers. It's lives. Applause thundered. Jimmy teared up. Post-party, Theo proposed. Not ring, but partnership. Write this with me? Book deal floated, my story sanitized. I demurred. Too soon. But the shadows lingered. Anonymous emails. Truth buried shallow. Mom's old allies. Or paranoia. Marcus. Now on retainer. Audited deep. No anomalies. But he warned. Old habits die hard. Hard, yeah. Lila relocated to a suburb. Baby in tow. Supervised visits. My role reluctant aunt. Playdates awkward. Her apologies wrote. I was scared, she'd say. Scared. Of losing the crown. Thanksgiving loomed. First without Mom. Without Dad's ghost untainted. I hosted. Jimmy and crew. Theo's family. Lila tentative. Table groaned. Turkey, pierogies, awkward toasts. To seconds, I said, raising glass. Seconds at life. Lila clinked, eyes soft. To family. Family. Fractured mosaic. Post-feast, baby on my lap, I stepped out for air. Porch light haloed snow flurries. Chicago winter, biting sweet. Phone buzzed, unknown. Voicemail played, mom's voice frail. Addie, parole hearing soon. Visit, visit. Confront the monster, or let fade. I deleted it, breath fogging. Fade. Spring thawed secrets. A box arrived, Dad's attic stash, Lila's forwarding. Letters, yellowed. His suspicions of mom's extracurriculars, drafts of divorce. And one to me. If you read this, kid, fight. But forgive. Hate eats the hater. Forgive. The twist I dodged. Theo's book pitched serious. I relented, co-authoring. Reborn in Betrayal. Working title. Outlines bled truth. Death drive. Rebirth gasp. The unravel. Publishers salivated. Gritty American saga. Gritty. My bones. Lila's probation ended summer. She enrolled in community college. Business ethics. Ironic. For her, she said, nodding to the toddler wobbling steps. For her. Ripple effect. We lunched occasional, neutral ground, bridges tentative. Mom's parole granted, good behavior, model inmate. Release day, I waited curbside, Theo's hand in mine. She emerged changed. Hair gray, frame frail, eyes haunted. Addie, hug brief, bony. Home. Neutral hotel first, supervised. We drove silent, miles heavy. Over coffee, black as sin, she spilled. Richard knew. The pills. Mercy, in my madness. Mercy. Delusion's cloak. Why? I pressed. Fear. Of losing it all. All, the facade. I nodded, throat tight. Company's thriving. No thanks to you. Sting landed. She winced. Proud. Proud. Echo. Forgiveness? Not absolution. Acceptance. Stay clean, I said. For Lila. For the kid. She nodded. Tears. First real ones. Evan appealed from prison. Lost. Lila divorced him quiet, reclaiming Harper hyphen. Baby's first word. Auntie. Mine. Fall brought harvest. Harper went public-ish, employee stock ownership. Unions partnered, not picketed. I testified before Congress. Corporate accountability, my scars badges. Cameras flashed. Theo beamed from seats. But the undercurrent pulled. Late night, alone, the rebirth hit waves. Was this life mine, or echo? Death's gift, curse. Controversial close. Expose mom's full rot, or seal. I chose seal, letters burned, secrets graves. Lila's wedding redo, small, lakeside, new boa teacher. I maid of honor ed, dress itchy but worn. Vows simple, second chances. Second, my mantra. As cake cut, baby smeared frosting, I slipped away. Dunes called. Indiana, Dad's haunt. Waves lapped, sand gritty. Theo found me, arms wrap. You okay? Okay. Reborn. But the hook lingered. That email from years back, Lila's gloat. Deleted, but etched. Revenge sated? Or simmering? Chicago lights beckoned. I turned, hand in his. Forward. Yet in quiet, I wondered, if death reset again, would I choose different? Softer? No. This fire forged me. Unbreakable. 2 years post-release, Mom integrated fragile, volunteering at women's shelters. Her pearls traded for aprons. Lila thrived, degree in hand, managing a co-op in Gary, baby, now Ellie, her anchor. Me? CEO in truth, Harper a beacon for ethical steel. Theo and I? Engaged, quiet. His ring simple, my yes fervent. Book dropped bestseller. Reborn vengeance. Oprah nod. TED Talk invites. America aided. Rags to redemption, Midwestern grit. But peace chafed. Old wounds itched. Anonymous tips resurfaced. Not all loose ends tied. Marcus dug. Unearthing a final thread. Mom's pre-dad lover, a union buster from the 90s, who'd seeded the siphon scheme. She played both sides, he reported. Both. Love and legacy, twisted. Confrontation brewed, inevitable. Family dinner. My penthouse now, loop views mine. Table set. Roast, reds, tensions. Ellie babbled, oblivious. Lila eyed me wary. What's the ghost? Mom sipped, steady. I laid the file. One more truth. Gasps, explanations tumbled. Mom's eyes dimmed. Ancient. Buried for you girls. For us. Collateral. Lila recoiled. More lies. Lies. Her inheritance. I stood, voice thunder. No more. We rebuild clean. Agreement murmured, hug strained. Post-dinner, Mom lingered. End it, Addie. The hate. Hate. The engine. Trying, I admitted. Ellie's bedtime story. Me reading, her curls tickling. And he fights dragons? She lisped. Dragons. Slain? Or sleeping? I kissed her brow. Always. Theo's proposal redo. Dunes at sunset, waves chorus. Marry me proper? Ring upgraded, but heart same. Yes, again. Wedding small, beach, bare feet, Jimmy officiating. Vows. Through betrayals, to truths. Laughter, salt air. Honeymoon. Iceland. Geysers, glaciers, rebirth metaphors. Nights tangled, days hiking fissures. This you, he said, steam rising. Me. Whole. Back. Crisis. Competitor raid. Chinese bid for Gary. Echoes. Board panicked. I rallied. Counteroffer. Union buy-in. Victory hard won. Headlines. Harper heiress holds line. Heiress. Earned. Mom's health faltered. Cancer late. Hospice quiet. We rotated vigils. Lila broke first, sobbing confessions. I hated you for being loved. Loved. Dad's shadow. I held her. Loved you too. Failed. Failed. Human. Mom's last. Forgive. All. Eyes closed. Breath stilled. Funeral lakeside. Ashes to waves. Eulogy mine. Flawed empress. Rest. Lila and Icosio then. Sisters scarred. Ellie flowered. Theo's book sequel. Forged in fire. Bestseller again. Years blurred. Ellie to school. Harper Global. Sustainable steel. Worker co-ops. My TED. Revenge to redemption. Applause. Tears. But the core question. Worth the cost? Controversial path. Gray deeds. Moral bends. Dad's letter echoed. Forgive. I did mostly. One dawn. Wicker Park apartment. First home. Nostalgia pull. I stood mirror ward. Lines etching. 30 now, truly. Reborn eyes stared back. Fierce, free. Phone buzzed. Lila. Ellie says hi. Dinner. Yes. City hummed. I stepped out. Wind off lake. Promise crisp. Second life? No, first real. Dragons dormant, but watch lit. Twist final. An attic box. Dad's unsent will. Everything split even, with note. To my girls. Love conquers. Conquers. The real truth. I burned it. Ashes to wind. Legacy mine. Forged, not found. And in that, happy. Or as happy as scars allow.